Hey everybody, this is Em from DIYM. So today I'm feeling a little bit much better actually, but I am sick. I'm gonna say this in another video in the future, but I am still very sick. I've been sick twice this winter, but I'm still trying to make videos. So I've got at least a couple of Easter videos to do, so this is one of them. So what I want to do in this Easter video is actually quite a few things. There's gonna be a few different techniques happening here. I don't know if you guys remember this video. I did a video where I put tattoos that I made of some of my art and characters on some eggs, and it worked out pretty nicely. You can do that for this as well, but I decided to opt out of that just because, as you can see with these colorful eggs, I did do these colorful eggs last year. Luckily this was a mint color, but as you can see, the tattoos are very see-through. There's not a white behind them to make them look more opaque. So I did that video, and during that video I talked about making nesting doll eggs. I thought that that would be kind of a fun idea. So I did this a little while ago, back in 2019. I printed this recently, but there's unfortunately some lines happening on some of the darker colors from my printer. Anyways, so this is actually me and my husband. I cartoonified us back in 2019. I did this with some friends of ours too, and I did that with their cat. So their cat has unfortunately passed away quite a while ago, sadly, but this is an image of what I thought their cat would look like as a little nesting doll. And then this is a random person. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to do a random person as a nesting doll. So I'm just going to take these 3 eggs. This is just the inspiration of the drawings that I did from 2019 in Illustrator. I don't remember if I used Photoshop for this. I think I mostly used Illustrator for all of this. But yeah, I have these 3 colors of eggs, so I could have done myself, which I didn't, but I was thinking I'll do this girl here. I'm gonna do my husband, and I'm going to do a cat, but an orange cat instead, a random cat. Similar looking, so you guys can get an idea for making a nesting doll design for men. If you have a guy in your life that you want to capture, or maybe you just want to do a male design. My husband, he likes to play video games, so he's got a controller in his hand. It's hard to see, but he's got the Triforce for Zelda on his shirt. This is just a shirt that I made back in the day, and then I used to wear purple pants, and I like to wear running shoes, so it's white runners and pink. So I thought that would be kind of fun, and of course I'm an artist, so I have a pencil in my hand. And as you guys know, I wear glasses. My hair is a lot shorter now. It's probably closer to this length, but at the time I would wear ponytails all the time, so I put that in there. I think this is going to be a little easier to capture, something like this person here. And you can, if you want to, I really like the delicate faces that I made. I don't know if I can recapture them just by painting or drawing stuff on. If you want to yourself do something like this, you don't have to do the digital thing that I did. If you are not good at digital art, then I wouldn't really recommend doing that and trying to pick that up and learn that from scratch, unless you can find some images and stuff like that on the computer. Maybe you could do something along those lines if you want to, but I would recommend, if you have the skills, maybe you can do that and turn them into stickers, or you could do the tattoos if you can find some tattoos that aren't so transparent, or maybe you just have large white eggs that you could do this sort of thing on, right? Unfortunately, it's not going to really work as a very good nesting doll because I can't really put these inside each other. I probably could with this, but I've already done something with these eggs here, and I don't really know what the other ones are. But yeah, I did very standard mouths, very similar eyes on a lot of them. The cat was a little different to do, but I tried to keep a consistent face shape. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to design these. I had a blast doing that back in the day. I don't really remember how I did it, and I wish I captured it on camera, but I did this so long ago. This is before I even had a YouTube channel, and before I even started capturing my artwork on computers. And I'm pretty sure this took days, so this would have been days to edit something like this. But what I did was I just took a lot of these images and altered them a little bit in Photoshop, because Photoshop is a little easier for me to alter stuff, and it's a little bit more convenient for me. So anyway, I basically did that, and I'll show you what I did. So I had made different sizes. I actually already cut these guys out. Here, I'll just dump them out on here. But I actually, as you can see, the printer didn't really print the black up very well, so I just went over it with a Stedler marker. This is a 0.5. I find that these are waterproof, so that's really good because we're gonna be doing some Mod Podge later, and I'm hoping that the ink doesn't run. We'll see. So I already cut these stickers out in advance, but I did shrink these down quite a bit because they were originally quite large. If you can see, they were quite a bit bigger than this image I have now. So I did try to cut these out, and they didn't quite look right on the eggs. They looked a little bit more awkward. So anyways, so what I did, and I could get some paint out, which I'm going to do for some of this, but I'm going to try to do as minimal paint as possible. And if you want to, you can use paint markers. That would work really well. I personally don't have any paint markers, which is kind of unfortunate, I know. You think I would have something like that in my stash. I do like stuff like that, but I just don't have that at the moment. But anyways, I still have to cut this guy out a little bit better. I tried to make minimal cuts, so I tried to make similar orange, not quite the same orange exactly, but a similar orange to this egg so that it doesn't look awkward on here. This is actually, on the computer, it looked a lot more green. This looks closer to this matte color of green, but whoops. This was a lot more green on the digital image. That's how the green printed up, but hopefully it'll look not as awkward. But I want to make sure that even though sometimes these break really easily, these hinged eggs, I want to make sure that the image is on the other side of the hinge. So I originally fussy cutted all these out with these scissors, but for some of the tinier cuts that I'm going to do, I'm going to probably use these embroidery ones because they're really, really small, these scissors. And they're quite sharp. Okay. Oh, and another thing that I'm going to tell you guys, I think I can show you an example on here. If you ever cut something out, I like to do thick lines just so it's a little easier to cut out on something like this. But if you ever find it so hard to cut out and you find there's a little bit of a white edge, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I've got a bit of a white edge on here. What I like to do is I'll take a brush pen. This is archival ink, but also waterproof as well. And this is a Micron Pigma brush pen. I got this a long time ago, so hopefully they're still around. I always end up recommending something that's completely gone now. But anyways, so I like to take a little brush pen, something that hopefully will last a while and is archival or something, and I just like to touch up the edges. I just like to do it at the edge like this. So I don't use it like a normal marker, but I just like to sort of touch up the ends so that it looks a little seamless, like it was meant to be like that. Does that make sense? So it's not so bad. Sometimes it's really hard to fussy cut stuff out and continue getting a proper line. Here, I think I have some right here. I've talked about this on my channel before, but I've never actually shown you guys this step. I think that this is actually a really good thing to have in people's arsenal, especially if they do some fussy cutting. Having thick lines in your art is really, really helpful, but also if you don't and you want something really intricately done and you have a marker like this can really touch things up a little bit for you, if that helps somebody out there, which I hope it does. I think I have a little bit going on here too. This is on my husband here. I think that's it. I don't know. Whoa. And this was way too intricate to the point where I just did not want to cut this guy out because then I'd have to paper piece everything back together. So I just ended up doing a green that matched his collar and his sleeves around it. Instead of having to fussy cut everything, I would just do a bit of a border. This is a sticker, so it's a little easier to just cut it like that. Okay, so anyways, first I'm going to do this girl. Place her on. It might be a little difficult because this top part is very narrow and round, but let's see how it goes. Trying to get the backing off of these stickers is kind of the worst. I just don't want to ruin the actual image itself because I spend so much time fussy cutting everything. It's so close to the border too. Oh, here we go. Finally got it. All right. Woo, it's about time. Okay, cool. So this is going to be the opposite side of the hinge in case I want to keep this hinge going. Just trying to make it somewhat straight. It's kind of hard because sometimes there's little wrinkles that happen, but I'm going to try to make the wrinkles in the same sort of area so it doesn't look so bad. You could always paint over this. I figured that the wrinkles were going to happen. If you want to, you can always cut things. It's still not going to be the best and it's not going to be perfect, but I'm just going to try to smooth out the wrinkles a little tiny bit. Well, that's not too bad actually. If I had paint markers, then that would look probably really good because I could touch up the outline. I'm hoping that these, you could probably just cut out, if you wanted to, just the hands and stick them on. And you can always put stickers down, like little flowers or something like that. But I'm gonna try to make this so that it kind of looks like this. Her shoulders are gonna be up a little bit, but I want it to be right on the line. So let's see if I can get this guy off fairly easily. Oh, is this gonna work? Oh, did I find something? Yes. All right. Okay, cool. Okay, let's try to get the hands and sleeves. Whoops. No, not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Ah, no. Very sticky. Stickier than I thought it was going to be on here, actually. But yeah, I'm going to protect this a little bit better with some Mod Podge. So that actually turned out pretty good. So what I'm going to do for the hair, and you can do traditional nesting doll. I'm just doing something that looks a little bit more modern, I guess. But I'm doing the hair all the way around, right? For traditional nesting doll, a lot of the time they did a little scarf or something. I just did a little headband to differentiate between that. The weird thing that I'm going to have to do with my husband is I'm going to have to make him look like he's headless on the backside because he's a boy and boys don't normally wear scarves. I'm going to have to do this blue background all the way around this. So I'm gonna have to paint that on. I could always paint that with a, again, paint marker, but I don't have one. But yeah, so this is basically the idea behind this. I want to Mod Podge down here. You can Mod Podge strips of ribbon. I might do some strips of washi tape. If you want to, you can always put something that she's holding. I have, as you know, some flower stickers. You could always put a flower sticker down and then put that on her chest. There's lots of cool stuff you can do there. What I'm gonna do for my husband, I'm gonna do a very similar thing. They're very roly-poly. Oh my god, okay. Here, I'm going to, I don't know, I'll just put that in there. So for my husband, I'm going to do most of it except for his shoes. And then for down here, I'm going to paint this to look like jeans, like denim pants. I might do a belt if I can. I don't have a paint marker, but that would be really, really helpful to do pockets. So we'll see how that goes. I definitely want to do some sort of jeans. But yes, I'm actually a little afraid of putting on his head yet because I do want to have, what I might do instead, I'm going to sort of guesstimate where these hands will be and the sticker will be. And then for his shoulders, I'll paint something around here and then I'll put his head on. So yeah, I'm going to leave his head and his shoes off for now, just for the time being. But yeah, I'm going to put this because I think this is going to get in the way because it's actually quite large. I'm going to put that behind his controller just so I have a little bit more room to play so I can keep his head here. I'm going to bring that down a little bit so it's hiding behind his controller slightly, but you can still tell what it is. I hate doing that because I spent so much time designing these things and I want the design to show up. I want his Zelda love showing up. Sometimes you want their interest to show if you're designing something based on a real person, that is. Okay, here we go. The moment of truth. I'm gonna do it kind of lowish down here. I want it still to be seen. I don't feel like this is gonna be straight on. Oh no. That's a bit better. Okay, I didn't want you guys to watch me fussy cutting everything. I'm gonna fussy cut this a little bit, but I just didn't want you guys to have to wait around for me to fussy cut every little thing. Okay, so again, I'm gonna try to place this right above this line so I don't have to cut anything. So it's blocking a bit of the design, which I don't love, but I'm gonna try to smooth it out from here over. It's really hard to design things for a rounded surface, I will say that much. That's the main reason why I'm doing mixed media. If I could, I would use a sticker or something like that for around here, but I think mixing paint, it should be good. Okay, so that'll be nice. I'll just do something with the shoulders, wrap a bit of blue around the side here, so it'll look like that's the background. But yeah, when you look at it this way, it's gonna look weird probably. It's all good. We're gonna suspend some belief here. And I like how there's different lines playing here. Thin and thick lines. I think that's kind of fun. That's also a design choice that I made. So I'm gonna play with that later when I'm doing some Mod Podging and some painting and stuff. I'll play with these two. So right now, this cat, I might do a little bit of painting on here, but I might just mostly do stickers with it. So I'm gonna just take my scissors here. This is gonna seem kind of dark, guys, but I'm gonna just cut this head off here and just leave a border because I didn't want to cut these whiskers. I thought that those were a cute design choice, but I want to make it look like it's a sticker. I mean, it is a sticker, but I want to make it look like a sticker, so I have a little bit of a weird border. So as I said, you can use this if you want to design a tattoo. There's some cool tattoos papers out there. I know that there's probably places online where you can get tattoos made up if you don't want to use your printer or something, so there's that as an option as well. And I mean, I could have left this out, this tail, and I could have put it in the back or something, but it's kind of cute because it looks like it's wrapping its tail around its legs. I don't know, I thought it was cute. I'm just gonna have this look a little crooked because I'm probably gonna seal this in with Mod Podge a bit. And I think when things are a little bit crooked, it's a little bit easier to adhere on to a round surface. All right, let's try to do this cat and be almost done with it. Oh, so we'll have to cut across here, but I'm okay with that. I did that before with my other video. I'm just gonna have to get an X-Acto knife out, but we'll just put this on first and hope for the best. But the nice thing about this is if something happens, you can always just take off the sticker and then just reprint it, right? That's the beauty of stickers. But this is cool because you can do this for animals, right? If you want to, you can make this for a pet, design these things for a pet. And as I said, you can hand paint it on. It doesn't have to be digital and stickers. I find stickers make things a lot faster, technically. And you can just design things way in advance if you want to with digital stuff. And you can be very intricate with it because I find it's a little harder to be intricate with painting. The nice thing about this is I can easily back out if I make a mistake. And then I can just reprint this, as I said, if something happens physically here. Maybe you like that though. Maybe you like having some mistakes because it looks very hand done and very human. Doesn't look like AI did it or something, right? I tried to make them look more modern, but admittedly they do look a little creepy, I feel. But I find a lot of people are creeped out by my art. I know that's like a weird statement, but I feel like some people have been known to tell me that my art's really creepy when I thought it was really cute. They're like, that's creepy, I don't know. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I thought it was cute. Yeah, I could have lowered the head a bit more, but whatever. I'm just trying to get the wrinkles out with my nail. Not easy to do, but I'm just trying to do what I can. I'm trying to get the bubbles and the ripples and stuff out, right? But yeah, if you need to, you can always cut some stuff. Like here, doesn't need to be, you know? It's gonna be cut there anyways, along that line. If you guys wonder why my nails are always natural looking and a mess, it's because I do stuff like this and I don't want nail polish to transfer. I'm always working with my nails all the time. Sorry, sometimes they're different sizes and whatnot, but yeah. I'm gonna trim this part in advance. And if you want to say make this a tabby cat, you can always do some fun Garfield stripes or something like that on the back just to make this a little bit more fun with paint. I'm just being very careful with this sharp knife. I don't want to have this knife slip. This is easy to do. This is definitely not an easy craft to do with kids, I guess. Sometimes things rip a little bit. But also, sometimes you might cut yourself doing stuff like this. I really don't like knives. So yeah, anyways, there's a little egg that looks like a cat. But yeah, you can design it however you want, but that's basically how I chose to design it. If you want to paint things a little bit more to blend it in a little bit to the background, you can totally do that. If you want to try to make the color of the image a little bit closer to the egg, that might be better too, but whatever. It's fine, because this is matte with gloss. Once I go over it with some sort of gloss Mod Podge, it'll probably look much better, hopefully. We'll see. But anyways, I'm going to do some painting next. I'll just do the press and seal, so it'll just be easily thrown away. So yeah, I just put down a layer of this Glad press and seal. It doesn't seem to be as sticky as it used to be, but I mean, it's still stuck down. The adhesion doesn't feel as sticky as it once was. But yeah, that's what I basically use. I use this Glad 3-in-1 press and seal. And get this gloss Mod Podge out and bring back my little egg here. Oops. This sponge brush. I'll paint first and then I can finish up sticking stuff on here. Yeah, I'm gonna grab some paint. Okay, I've decided to do some painting. So I got my paint palette here. I'm just gonna rip out a piece because I'm probably gonna do some mixing. And I'll just toss this away. Seems like it's a little easier to use some actual wax paper sometimes because it's not as wrinkly. I have these colors. I brought a few blues out mainly for the blue background and doing some jean textures, and then black just in case I need to draw on pockets or do some touch-ups on outlines for anything. And then I have to mix up some sort of color for her hair in some way. I might get some white too just in case. I'm just gonna use basic paints, so that's just like titanium white, so I can mix that as well. I need to get some water. I'll get a few different little brushes here. I like to get a few just in case. I think that's good. And then, so I normally get this for my water. This is the thing I like to do when I'm painting. And then I'm gonna get some paper towel. I think the hardest thing to be painting will probably be my husband in the background, so I'm gonna do that first. And you could always gesso things first, but I'm just gonna go for it. Just gonna get a little bit of water just to make it a little bit easier to deal with here. This is the biggest mess ever. Okay, see, this is why you need the paper towel. Okay, so I'm gonna try to make, even though his head's gonna cover up a lot of this, I'm gonna try to make some shoulders here. So yeah, he's gonna look headless for a moment. If you turn it around anyways. I could always make a sticker just for the back of his head and just stick that on, which would be also really funny, but I don't know, I'm kind of lazy. I'm sure my husband doesn't mind too much, right? I'm sorry, honey, I didn't mean to make you headless. Acrylic is like a rubbery plastic when it dries, so it should be semi-easy to paint on here. I'm just trying to make it look a little straighter. I always do things the hard way, but you can always tape things off with green painter's tape, so you get a straighter line across. We can always make them look like they're wearing a hoodie too. So, sorry, my husband was making lunch, so I just stopped talking there and sped things up, but I just watered down this paint here so that it's hopefully gonna be not as lumpy. It's still a little bit textured and lumpy, lumpier than I'd like. It might work well for the pants, but the top I was hoping it would be a little smoother, but it is a little bit smoother than it was by just watering down this acrylic paint, so hopefully that'll work out. But anyway, it should dry within half an hour, but I'm just gonna move on really quickly and move on to the jeans. So I'm gonna open this up. Oh, I forgot that this hinge was broken, so it's gonna be a little easier to paint then. I'm gonna use this midnight blue. Oh man, that's watery. Okay. Now it's just almost too watery. Okay, I'm gonna mix the two here. I need a little bit of texture. Different pigments act differently. Whoa, it's beading up. I feel like I need some gesso for this so it sticks a bit better. I just didn't expect it to be this watery. Wow, it's almost like a watercolor. That's crazy. It's so weird when acrylic acts like this. One's too lumpy, the other one's just way too watery. I wanted this to be darker, this blue, but it looks like this pigment's very transparent. Some interesting jeans that he's wearing. He doesn't normally wear jeans like this. I'm gonna take off some of this paint. I'm going to add a pigment that's actually more opaque. This is actually an opaque white, the titanium white, so this is probably going to lighten it up drastically, but I just want some sort of binder just so it will bind onto this egg. And you know what? It's fine if he wears lighter jeans. I don't think that's a big deal. Maybe it's a little bit. Not what I was going for, but whatever, it's fine. See, that looks more like a denim color. That's good because it's going to have some streaking and stuff through it, which is kind of what I want for denim anyways. I was going to do a few different colors. Happy accents. Just make happy accents, guys. Probably shouldn't have gotten so close to the top because I did get some along the rim here, but I could probably let this dry for a bit, and then I could probably put like a belt or something around there as well. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave that. Well, anyways, I'm gonna move on to the hair on the girl. I'm gonna turn off the camera while I wash my hands because I don't want this blue to transfer. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. So for her, I'm going to probably add some white. This is carmine red, so I don't know if this is going to work out or not, but let's give this a whirl. I don't know, I haven't really looked at this color at all. Is this going to work? I'm not sure. I'll put down a little bit more. A lot of these, if they haven't been opened, are very watery, it seems. Okay. This looks kind of terracotta-ish. Not exactly the color I was going for. Let's go. Oh, is this crimson red? Okay. I might have to get a little bit more burnt sienna. I'm gonna get some burnt sienna and some white and see what happens here. Yeah, so I have some burnt sienna right here. Bringing out the student grade stuff instead of just the craft paints. Not the best pigments, I guess, but it's okay. I'm gonna work with a little bit of that, and I'm gonna add some white off to the side and just do some mixing here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so that's not fully, but it's closer to the color I was going for. Okay, so I'm gonna try to, if I can, avoid the bold line I have here at the top. This is why I opted to put my husband's face on afterwards with the sticker, because it's not easy to paint close to the sticker with the paintbrush and have things look sort of smooth. She's got a lot of hair. It's a little harder to do this sort of thing for guys, I think, but you could probably just do a hoodie or something like that for most of it. I just didn't want a dark gray egg. I just wanted something that was a little bit more bright and fun and cheery for Easter. You know how it goes. I like the fun colors that Easter brings. Do you like fun, bright colors that Easter gives you, or do you feel like it looks very young? I'm kind of old. I'm not a young person anymore. I used to do some really cool stuff back in the day though. But this is where things would look really cool with a paint marker. I could do a really cool line here, kind of like the rest of this illustration. For the hair, like it's continuing it on. Yeah, I'm just gonna add some nice hair texture. So it looks kind of like she's got some hair up here. Anyways, I might just take this tiny little brush and go over things with a black paint all the way along here so that it'll look like she's just got really thick hair. I hope it makes sense to everybody what I'm trying to achieve here. I did bring out a black just in case. I'm going to wash off this brush. I'll wash these guys better in the sink, but it's better to mostly wash it off as much as you can. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry a bit and then I'm gonna use this black. I think a paint marker would probably be the best if you have the fine tip thin one, but I don't really have that, as I said. So it's already kind of drying a little bit, so I'm gonna see what I can do. Oh, just want to wet my brush a bit so it's a little bit easier to do some line work. Yeah, I'm just gonna touch up some little line work here. This is very delicate right here. I don't want a ton on this brush. I just want a little bit so I can do fine lines. I want it to look like she's wearing a Peter Pan collar. Just trying to make this line look thin and graphic, so it looks like an extension of the sticker. It's very delicate work, but it looks like an extension of the sticker that I put on here. It looks like hair. I'm just gonna do just a straight line across, but I think this looks better because it looks more like purposeful hair. Look at that. That looks so cute. It just looks like a lot of very thick hair. So yeah, there she goes. This is pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna add some of this paint to her bangs just so that it looks a little bit more, not too far-fetched. Specifically on her braids right here. There we go. So that looks a little bit closer to her hair color. I'll let it dry, and then I'm going to go over this with Mod Podge down here. Yeah, this looks so cute. I really like this. This turned out really nicely. This got already kind of done. Acrylic does dry really quickly. I am going to just take some of this off this paint because I don't want that there. It can glue things shut when you don't want it to. I might actually go over this again, just a little bit here. I'll let that dry. I'm gonna wash my hands, gonna wash my brushes, and then we'll do some Mod Podging when I get back. Okay, so I did a little tidying up. The jeans are off to the side right now. They're still doing some drying because I tried picking them up and shoving them here, but very wet still. I just tried to put this in some egg curtain just so that it had something to sit in because it was rolling around a lot. I won't do the shoes quite yet, but I'll do my husband's face. I just hate how the sticker paper takes forever to come apart from the backing. It's so hard to take this off. Okay. I need to center this a little bit better. Oh, it's getting very close to the hole. No, this is going to be difficult to smooth out for sure. Just because it's on some bumpy surface here. Bumpy terrain. But hopefully the Mod Podge will help a little bit with sticking this down. Still looks cute though. Here, I'm gonna put this cat here. I started doing stripes. I was gonna do stripes around it to make it kind of more like an orange tabby cat, but the stripes looked awful and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave this alone. So I'll just leave it a plain orange cat with some white markings on it. So I'm just gonna Mod Podge this little area, I guess, but I'm gonna Mod Podge this too, just to give it a gloss look, a bit of a textured one, but still it's gonna be a bit of a gloss look. So anyways, I have this foam brush and then I have this gloss Mod Podge here. I'm gonna get out another one of these disposable palette pages, just so I have something to put the Mod Podge onto here. So I'm just really hoping that the ink from the computer doesn't really make the ink run and it doesn't smudge or something. Just so that it looks like it's part of this egg. I mean, I could make the whole egg more matte, but I think I'd rather make the section more in line with the egg, more glossy. Paint this paint as well. I think it looks really cute. There we go. That's cute. I like that. That looks so cute. There's some bubbles happening, but you could always do the actual Mod Podge thing instead of putting stickers down, print this on a thin paper, and then glue that down that way. But I decided to do sticker route, and that also works. So anyways, I'm going to put that aside for a second. I will do the Mod Podging down here, but I'm going to just Mod Podge these guys first. Here, let's just take this. I'm going to take this out. It's just easier to... There. They actually look like proper nesting dolls because they're going to be taken apart completely. I just want a little bit of this Mod Podge on there. I don't want it to be super overwhelming. That's so cute too. I love. I'm gonna do the same thing with this cat. I think I'm just gonna snip off this part. Not too hard to snip this off, but I'll work in parts with it. They're looking super cute though now that they're shiny. What you guys think? I'm trying to avoid this so I don't glue things down when I do put it back together. Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave that there. I'm gonna let this dry a little bit more, the jeans, and then I'm gonna try to put a little bit more of this Mod Podge that I have here. And then I'm going to get some washi tape. I might do some pinstripe skirt here. Alright, so I'm gonna do some washi tape stuff here. I'm gonna lay some washi tape down and then cut it off. Get as many bubbles out as I can. Oops, don't want to get glue on my scissors. Luckily the washi tape is tape, so it's pretty sticky, so I can easily just apply that, and then I can just seal it, and I'll just go over it with this Mod Podge, and that'll hopefully look pretty decent. So I'm just going to crisscross things right now. Sorry, I'm probably going off camera a few times, and I don't mean to do that. I apologize, guys. Sometimes when I'm concentrating, I don't really pay attention to what I'm doing. It happens. It's gonna look like fabric anyways when it's all wrinkly and stuff like this, I guess. It looks almost like linen. If you want to make something like this look like linen, you can always do a matte finish. It's different textures playing around. I'm just gonna keep going with the gloss, but you guys do you. You can always put a belt around it too. That would look cute. So yeah, it's gonna be a little see-through and purple and stuff underneath, but whatever. I'm okay with that. I'm also okay with the wrinkling. It should be fine. Looks like fabric, very wrinkly fabric. If you're not okay with that, well, then you probably shouldn't be doing this project because Mod Podge is gonna just bring out the wrinkles in your stuff, and that's probably not going to be what you're going for. I'm assuming if you don't like it, but I don't really mind the wrinkles all that much. I think it gives a character a little bit. Last strip, and you can do a few more if you think it looks too see-through, but I'm okay with that. Okay, and I got lots of washi tape still to spare. Okay, so this is going to look like that. Oh my god, it's so cute. If I have a little belt on her, I think that would be even cuter. I might put a little belt on my husband before I Mod Podge his other half, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna pour out a little bit more Mod Podge here. If you want to get the wrinkles down, it's up to you. You can even glue things in advance before you're putting it down. You can even use tissue. You didn't have to use washi tape. I just find washi tape's a little bit easier. But anyways, that looks cute. Another thing you can do with Mod Podge is I've seen people do napkins or tissue and you cut it, or you can rip off certain patterns in them and then Mod Podge that on. But let's see how this is doing. It's starting to look okay. I kind of want to take off some of this paint here though. I don't want this to glue down this egg when I put it together. So I have shoes that I have to put on my husband. I'm gonna put the shoes on and then I'm gonna Mod Podge over top of that. So this is the back side here that I'm working with. So I gotta also think about that. Line things up. There we go. Got it. I'm gonna put his little shoes across from here down near the bottom. There we go. I might put a little belt around him. Let's see what I've got for that. So my husband normally has a brown or black belt. I'm gonna use this just because it's a good width and then I can paint over it with black. Okay, and then I'm just gonna peel this off a bit. Oh, some of this came off. Okay, that's alright. That's okay. I'm not mad at it. Okay, so right here, I'm just gonna put some pockets. It's a little thicker than I wanted it to be, but that's okay. It's hard to make pockets with such a thick brush, I guess. It's like a flat brush. I should probably just get a teeny tiny brush here. They almost look like eyebrows. There you go. And I'll just put, so it looks like his legs are here. A little line separating his legs a bit. He's actually sitting down, but I'll just put that there, and then I'm gonna let this dry a little tiny bit. I'm gonna put a tiny little thing of washi tape on here. Lots of little details in this. To define this belt, I'm gonna use this very thin washi tape. It's incredibly thin. I'll just try to find the end. I think this is the end right here. It's gonna be so hard to work with, but I'm gonna see what I can do just to define this belt a bit more, because it's very small and delicate. So hard to work with little teeny tiny things, but this is gonna totally make it. I think it's gonna make it look like a cool belt. I don't even know where I got these washi tapes, but I got some really thin ones that I thought would be really cool for certain things, and I think I was right. Wow, this takes forever to do. Most delicate parts are the worst. They just take so long. Okay. The little detail though just makes it. It's awesome. It takes forever to do, but it's so cute. Okay, now one last little bit is we have to Mod Podge. I'm gonna try not to Mod Podge right in here. I think this is the last thing to do here. And then I'll just let them dry and then I'll show you guys this at the end. Okay, I'm gonna let this stuff dry. Every single one of these. I'm gonna clean this stuff up. Wash these brushes and my hands, and yeah, when I get back you'll see these guys put back together. Okay, so here are these adorable eggs I made today. I think they turned out so cute. These kind of also look like stripy pants. I feel like it's kind of more of a dress, but whatever. You can do whatever you'd like there. But yeah, I think they turned out so cute. Right? All the way around, it looks so cute. I absolutely love my husband's little belt, even though it was so intricate and annoying to put on. Yeah, I think that this looks really super adorable. So cute. Even his little shoes. His little shoes are so cute. I love them. Unfortunately, there's a weird line that showed up on the print, but I feel like the Mod Podge kind of brings the colors out a little bit more. Like this green actually kind of blends in with the green. When you Mod Podge it, it just sort of matches up a little bit better. It's a little bit lighter still, but it matches up quite a bit. But it looks like it's meant to be part of the design. Anyways, what do you guys think? I think that they turned out really, really cute. Oh yeah, I'll just say this real quick. I did this in some of my other Easter videos from last year. I basically cut it a 1-inch strip of cardstock, and then I just coiled it and then taped it down on one side, so it's a nice little egg holder, perfect for displaying these, right? And they turned out really, really cute. Yeah, and then you can, if you wanted to, you can make this, put some candy or some little bits and bobs, tiny little toys or craft supplies. I like the fact that you can technically personalize this, or you can make up your own characters, illustrations and whatever. I think that that's really, really fun. I really like how they turned out. The stickers makes them a little bit easier to do, and you don't have to paint a ton of stuff, but it makes it so much easier. If you wanted something to look a little bit more intricate, it just makes it look a little bit nicer. I feel like the line work on this one's a little too fine, but that's okay. It still blends in nicely with the egg. And again, I could have removed the tail and put it on the other side or something, but I don't know. I think it looks kind of cute. Like the cat is just crunching itself down a little bit. I don't know. Does that make sense? Anyways, I also got these guys. It was like a 6-pack fillable eggs, the ones with the hinges, and there's a few other colors. I showed you this pack unopened last year in my video where I did these tattoo and sticker eggs. So if I Mod Podge these probably wouldn't have looked so bad, to be honest. These kind of look like they're coming up a little bit. But yeah, I did that video last year, and that one's actually a pretty cool one too. But I feel like these stickers are a little nicer because things are a little bit more opaque. And then, as I said, you can just put some Mod Podge on there and smooth things out a little bit more. It is going to be a little bit wrinkly, but that's kind of a neat look too. So it depends on what you're going for, especially if you're making clothes and stuff. It's kind of a cool, fun look. Move these guys over for a second. But yeah, I think that they look like the inspiration page. These eggs turn out pretty good. Obviously, I kind of made a specific shape in Illustrator that looked closer to a nesting doll shape when I made these originally, when I did these illustrations back in 2019, forever ago. Yeah, I don't know. I think that they look really cute. The colors look brighter when you Mod Podge things. I was saying to my husband, her hair kind of looks like my hair in my grade 9 photo. I'm not going to show it because it's a really awful picture, but basically my hair was so thick back in the day. Not so much anymore, but it's thinned out a lot. But my hair was so thick back in the day that I had a pyramid kind of hairstyle. I didn't really like layering and stuff back then until now. My hair's still very annoying, but it looks cuter when it's short. But anyways, I don't know. I think that this looks really super cute. What do you guys think? Hopefully you guys get some ideas for your own nesting doll Easter eggs. But yeah, you can make whatever characters you want, paint stuff directly on. You don't have to do the sticker thing that I did. As I said, I just wanted to make it look a little bit more, not really professional necessarily, but just a little bit more intricate. It still looks cool, I think. I don't know if you guys want to do something similar to this, but anyways, this is kind of how I did it. I obviously didn't show you the process of the digital drawings that I did. That was, as I said, forever ago I made that. But yeah, I had the idea and the urge to do these little fun nesting dolls and just sort of ran with it. I honestly think that this belt kind of makes this look really fun. And you can add other things on stuff. Like I was thinking of adding just a tiny little bit of yarn coming down from the cat, even wrapped around the cat would be kind of cute. Glue some yarn on, glue some right on the ball to make it look like a fun texture. You can even put stuff in her hands, or you can give her the flower or something like that on her shirt before you stick things down, kind of like I did here. There's so much stuff you can do, and it's so much fun. But yeah, I don't know. I really, really like doing this. I hope you guys liked it too. But yeah, you can totally use these as nesting dolls. You can just stick some treats or something in here, and then stick these guys in there, right? And it could be a little nesting doll for that sort of thing. This is a bunny. So yeah, if you guys want to see this tattoo video that I did last year, I think that one turned out really cute. The white eggs, if you want to use white eggs for that, I highly recommend them. But if you want to do colorful eggs, I feel like the sticker method might be a little bit better because, as I said, it's a little more opaque. But yeah, I hope you guys like that. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. And share the video with anybody you think would like this sort of thing, like nesting dolls, especially if someone collects them. Anyways, I hope this helps you guys get some creative ideas, inspiration. And I hope you have an amazing Easter if that's what you celebrate. And yeah, I hope you have a good day. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye! Happy crafting!